right, what's up, good people? It's your boys, the Beards of War. You got FBR for President, Fat Broken Rambo, myself, Thick Nick Fury. You got Hey Captain Jack and Scorched Earth behind the scenes. And we're gonna get into Yellowjackets. We got season 3, episode 7, Croak. So we will follow our female femme fatales and Travis and see what shenanigans they get into this week. So where do you want
Shenanigans.
to get started with this?
Oh man, let's just kick it off. Right where ended last week with some unwelcome guests arriving to the dinner party. So basically, the episode opens with the title card saying 3 days earlier, and it shows us our first not freaked out version of this team of scientists. More importantly, it focuses on a frog. So all the noises that we're hearing is basically boiled down to, and I think I'm at the 1 minute mark. Cool. Some kind of weird fucked up frog orgy, man. That's what's going on. And that's the shit we've been hearing in the woodline this entire time. It was really well done. I thought I was like, man, that's some not shit was on my Yellowjackets bingo card this year. And so yeah, it's a team of two scientists. They're trying to capture footage and audio and video. No, just audio footage actually, I believe. And they've gotten a sample of the frog. And their guide Kodiak, played by Joel McHale. So Hannah is the audio specialist capturing all the sounds, and Edwin is, I guess, the team lead slash love interest for Hannah.
Yeah.
So
Is he though?
nah, yeah, well,
I
yeah.
want to say it might be a
It's
little
only
Kodiak in there, buddy.
yeah. Well, by the end of the episode, he's going to have an opening.
Yeah, Hannah
Um,
is Edwin's love interest, not the other way around.
Correct. Well, no, I think they're together because like they were kind of embracing each other in the tent. So, but she definitely has eyes for Mr. Kodiak.
Oh yeah.
So then we fast forward to 2 days earlier. It kind of shows some more of the dynamics. You get to see like Kodiak's covered in scars. He's got a degree of mystery to him. He definitely is not giving off the I'm not sinister vibe at all. He shoots a crossbow in between the two of them while having a casual conversation. Edwin is obviously a little bit nervous about that. But he kills a rabbit and then he cooks it for him. He does make an interesting comment though, as he's cooking. He's like, the wilderness does provide. So
Mhm.
interesting throwback. I personally think Kodiak is absolutely connected at a much deeper level than just being the random guide. No way, man. The guy is just too nefarious. Like something's up with that dude.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Well, he knew not to get involved. Like, hey man, you smell barbecue in the woods, you go the other way. You
Yeah,
know.
but before we go there is that moment where they're smoking cannabis in the tent, and they scuffle and they're having a fun little game and they accidentally break the satellite phone. So how convenient was that?
Right.
I thought that was a moment of opportunity for him, to where he didn't wasn't aware they actually had like the satellite phone. So when they broke it out, I think he saw an opportunity to remove the communications piece away for control of the situation, because he also indicates he's like, hey, you don't need that. You've got me. I'm your lifeline now. So it was kind of interesting. But yeah,
Hmm.
then we kick off the next day and they smell barbecue.
Yeah. And it's Coach Scott. I mean, I don't know what
Mm.
ingredients they were using.
Rest in peace.
Um, but yeah, and now here's the part with that whole scene, right? So they come across the girls, and oh wow, okay, yeah. Now I think it was Van that says, "Oh, we're rescued,"
Yep.
right? No sooner than she says that, Lottie somehow got behind these three people who never took their eyes off them for a second and
Yep.
hatched Edwin in the back of the skull.
Dude, Jason Voorhees his ass in a second.
I'm like, how did that? How? First of all, how? Right? And then it's like, okay, Lottie, you want to tell us something? So I don't think Lottie really wants to leave. Like, at one point it's like, oh, Coach Scott is the key. And then it's like, oh no, they're not supposed to be here. Wait, hold on, Lottie. Like, what's going on? Like, are you so far gone that excuse me, you can't see the opportunity for us to get out of here? The other girls seem to kind of get it, like, oh man, this is our ticket
Mm.
home, and then Shauna, I don't know, Shauna kind of had a
Oh
weird
my,
reaction too. I'm
dude,
like, oh,
Shauna was
Shauna's
all
like,
about that shit.
right? I'm like, okay, so then they start chasing Hannah and Kodiak through the woods, and then they split up, and then so at that point, Hannah's like in survival mode. Kodiak, I mean, same thing pretty much. And they're very good at tracking these people in the dark. Like they put their flames out. They've really, I don't know, like they're kind of listening for the noise. I'm like, wow, maybe they got really good in these, what, a year that they've been out there. I don't know how long they've been out there, but they've adapted pretty well to their hunting skills.
Yeah, it's been over a year. Yeah.
Over yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So, mm, yeah. So,
Yeah, man, it's kind of interesting because it does kick back off to the present timeline shortly. just before the scene where they kind of split and run after the each one another. Kodiak does get a shot off though with his crossbow, and he puts one through
Melissa, yeah,
Melissa. Yeah, catches her kind of yeah, left side
just
or right
right her
side,
center mass, yeah,
right center
opposite
mass.
side of the heart, yeah,
Yep.
right
So
side,
yeah,
yeah,
she's kind of fucked up. She's out of the fight, and then Shauna just so casually says in passing, he's like, "Hey, if she dies, you die," and then runs off from the woods. I'm just like, "Fuck, man, 16-year-old doctor over here." Anyways,
right,
so the present timeline kicks off with Shauna actually in the bathroom of the hotel where they're staying because somebody just killed Lottie, and she's listening to the tape, and then she gets catches wind that Hannah had left a message for her daughter, and then kind of goes into kind of getting out of the hotel as quickly as possible. We don't get a whole lot of exposition on like what was on the tape aside from Hannah talking about her child Alex saying like a goodbye message as a mother, telling her that she always loved her, blah blah blah. And we come to find out later on in the episode that Shauna kind of did some digging, and that's where the present timeline is kind of going. So, Misty shows up at Ty and Vans to confront her over um, Ty
over,
going to see Lottie.
and not mentioning
Um,
it, right,
yep, exactly. And I really am starting to. There's a lot of theories online right now that Ty has been like, her. We'll call her evil Ty for the lack of a better term, but she's been kind of like evil Ty a lot longer. Like she has been the dominant personality for the majority of like since the car accident, I believe, in season two
agreed,
with her and
yeah,
Simone.
agreed, yep,
And like going back watching earlier seasons now, you start seeing like the significance of like her character actions are almost like direct opposite of what we know and have come to expect from her good side. So
right,
yeah, I'm leaning more into that, man. Like Ty, Evil Ty is showing like I don't give a fuck attitude about nothing except for Van, which is kind of interesting because it's alluding to the fact that Evil Ty is prepared to kill someone because she believes 100% that a sacrifice to the wilderness will keep Van alive, and I think that's what she was talking to Lottie about.
right, yeah, and then you see as because they just decided to go to Richmond, Virginia, and I think they're in New York, and they're in New York if I'm not mistaken,
They're in New
right?
Jersey.
New Jersey. All right. So like a 6 hour road trip on a whim, right? Oh yeah,
Yep.
I'll be back. Like you tell your husband I'll be back. I'm like, I'm going for 6 hours plus because I'm going to Richmond, Virginia. So during the trip, Misty gets the text from Walter. Oh, guess what I found out? There's Shauna's DNA has been found, on Lottie's fingernails. I'm
Yep.
like, that's convenient. So they're literally like texting each other in the vehicle. Like she can't tell, like, okay, there's obviously some kind of communication going on inside the van, and they're not including me with it, right? So and she's like, "Well, what's going on?" Because first, then of course they get to the hospital because Van is having a an episode with her cancer, and then it kind of comes out that yeah, Shauna, like we found information out that you killed Lottie. So Missy has no problems like calling out, "Oh, it was you," and this
Yeah.
is the information that I have. Like she's not even trying to, like, well, let me wait and see how things work. Nope, she's with the accusations up front. She's like, this is what we found out. Tell me where you were. Tell me what you were doing. Tell me, like she's confronting them like dead on. Um, when they're in the hospital, Van's, I guess the roommate or patient that's in the room is kind of, having an episode, and you could see like Ty's wheels turning. And
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
that dude's next. Like he's next. He's gonna be the next sacrifice to the wilderness gods on behalf of Van. I can see it already because you can see Ty's alter ego kind of taking front and center at that point. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be rough.
It's interesting because like I got a snapshot of the season 3 trailer, the overall trailer, and there's a quick cut scene where you see Ty hovering over somebody in a hospital bed with a pillow like they're going to suffocate, and I don't think that dude fits the description. I think it's an older white guy who's kind of balding. It reminds me a lot of Lottie's dad, where I'm kind of hoping we circle back around to that storyline because I think there's something interesting there, or
Hmm.
I'm just hoping there's something interesting because I think the show is unique like that. Um, yeah, man, it's kind of cool to see the differences though, because if we go back to the old timeline or the past timeline, um, we have that scene where Ty and Van come across the campsite where the scientists and Kodiak were staying, and man, the Van's got two awesome scenes in it. Like the scene where they first see the folks walking to camp and they're like, "Oh my God, we're rescued!" That like shock and awe moment, and the scene with the phone, she's like, "I just want to call my mother." And it's just like, oh man, like deep down inside, there's like these battle hardened young individuals. They're just like
Hmm.
crumbling at the prospect of actually being able to go home again. And that's just sad and awesome in the same because we actually know that they don't get rescued anytime soon. Well, not
Right.
just yet.
Right.
And some other darker shit's probably bound to come up because, hey man, Hannah records the going away message, like her send off to her child, or like her death letter, for lack of a better term, on the DAT tape. And so Missy got to hear it finally in the van. And then that tape somehow is going to get smuggled out. What's interesting though is in also that happened during the van time is that they were talking about the DAT tape specifically and how somebody had to have smuggled it out, and they referenced that Jen and Melissa were very close with Hannah, and then they all conclude to say that fucking Jen and Melissa are dead, and it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because almost all of them do a sign of like agreement except for Shauna.
Right,
Because
right,
I just watched it before the episode and that's what I picked up on it. So that's kind of interesting to see. Misty also found the receipt from when Shauna went into New York City when she got the cat, and is accusing her of being the one that killed Lottie as well. So they're all turning on each other, which makes for an interesting trust dynamic. Um,
right.
I also wonder if Walter had more information to tell about the DNA results because maybe he got cut off before he could say like, "Hey, they have similar genetic markers," and I am no fucking DNA expert. I'm just picking up whatever I watched in CSI and Iraq back in the day. Um, But I will say that, kids share a line of DNA, they get 50 and 50 from the parents, if I'm understanding my basic science right. So like she would have similar markers. So I'm curious if it really is Shauna or if it's possibly Callie.
Right. And then you do remember at the point where I believe it was episode 5 where they get the hair out of Shauna's cap,
Yep.
right? So it's like one of those things, okay, like
Really?
what are we
Yeah.
really looking at? Like, are you manipulating this, or are you really giving her like realistic information, right? Because you want it to go a certain way. Because remember, Walter is not a fan of Misty even hanging out with them because like they only use you. So best thing to get her away from them was to kind of cause dissension between them, right? So that could just be Walter's way of, hey man, I'm gonna start, throwing barbs in there where you guys are gonna start turning on each other, so that way kind of bring Misty away from them. You know what I mean? So that could just be a ploy. Like we don't know at this point.
Really true. I
Yeah.
still think Walter is connected somehow to the wilderness. I still love the idea that I don't know, man. Maybe it's not a daughter, maybe it's a son, and Alex was his former name, or Walter's his middle name, or like I need Walter to be connected to the bigger scheme of this thing. I think he's too good of a character not to go to the bad side or bad guy territory. I'm interested to see. So I mean, basically the ending of the episode alludes to Shauna sitting in front of a house. She's ditched everybody, left them all at the hospital, and she's got a brand new hunting knife. And we see a silhouette of a woman, who we are forecasting to be Hilary Swank and I am forecasting to be Melissa. Hilary Swank is going to be in the next episode, according to IMDb casting and probably some other outlets as well. And then, if I remember correctly, they basically bring folks back to camp. And I've got a couple like other highlights that I could talk about. If
Okay. So what my thinking is, obviously, this is supposedly Hannah's daughter that she drove to the house, right? Because
correct,
that's where she was headed. So whoever this woman is in the house, I don't think it can be Hilary Swank, right?
I don't think so.
Right. So now the question does arise, where does Hilary Swank's character come in? Like, is she going to be Melissa, or is this going to be a completely different character? Like, we
Very
don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that whatever's going on with these froggers, these scientists, whatever, you would think with the girls having the ability to basically form of government or tribunal, that they have the wherewithal. But okay, the reasonable thing would be to find out, how did you get here, right? So Lottie kind of just takes over and like, oh, hatchet to the head. Like, well, hold on. Like, Lottie, wait a minute. Like, I got questions, man. Like, hey, did you guys walk here? Like, I didn't hear any helicopters, any planes, any boats. Like, how did you get here? That would be the first question I would have. But Lottie's like, nope, you guys interrupted our orgy screaming thing, and I'm not having it. And she's literally like, they don't belong here. Click. Oh, no, no, hold on, Lottie, you sit down. Because now she's like messing around with the blood, right? Like of Edwin. Like she's like, I don't know if she's eating it or just putting it on her face, but
Oh yeah.
Lottie's gone. Like Lottie is cuckoo. Like she's out. Like you can't listen to her as far as, oh well, Lottie's connection to the wilderness. No, leave Lottie alone with the wilderness because she's gone. Because she doesn't even have the wherewithal to understand her situation of, we have people here who did not come with us, and at the very least I want to know, how did you get here? And that means there's a way out. If there's a way in, there's a way out, right? It's like from there's a way in, there's a way out, but there's never a way out. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
um
All the trees.
but yeah, man. All right, do you wanna get into some theories? Do we kind of cover everything, or
I got a couple things left, and so it was one of the thoughts that when I rewatched it again today was what you just kind of nailed on. So like everything when I watched the episode, I was looking for equipment. So they've got the sat phone, they probably got some audio equipment. Like that shit weighs you down. Not to mention at
Mhm,
least one tent, and it's a good sized tent. So tent poles, plates, utensils, rations, change of clothes, all that kind of
mhm,
shit. Plus, old boy got a blister on his toe, so he's not experienced in the woods. That terrain's a little
right?
rough. There's got to be the exit strategy has got to be close by.
Exactly,
And but
exactly.
here's the rub though, is that Kodiak's a street smart guy. Hannah is absolutely not. Um, that's the only advantage they've got. And that's what I'm kind of curious about. Like, how do you get to the point where you're giving up something? There's a lot of really cool theories that like maybe Kodiak is tied to the cabin daddy kind of mystique character from the cabin. I like the idea of him being a serial killer because why not? Um, I'm just kind of interested to see how it goes. I've heard everything from Hannah could be the final antler queen
Mm, okay.
and that she's not pit girl. Hey man, I'm all in. Just cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I would
Cool.
say that one of the things that, and I really, I don't know if the chat has got anything on this, but one of the sticking points I have for the episode as far as something I noticed was when Ty and Van find the sat phone. Sorry, I was going through my notes. The KUH initials come up again, right? So KUH was on the cache site cases that Coach Ben found in the pit. And
Right.
then now it's on a label maker tape on the sat phone because Ty brings attention to it. But they reference it saying it's the same initials on Ben's stash, and I kind of put it in quotes because that was the rough approximate quote that I got. Um, I don't remember anyone talking about his stash, and I don't remember Mari being exposed to it, aside from the hot chocolate and that kind of stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that he had the boxes on display. We don't allude to the fact that they got any of the rations back at camp, but somehow they know what KUH is.
Right. Yeah. And then we also remember that Kodiak had someone else, what is Eric Kyung or something like that, another name
Yep.
on a piece of equipment. So
Yeah.
it
Yep.
may not be the first time he's done this. Remember, there was a plane there, right? So this
It
could be
was.
a few people that have come across Kodiak's path, and the girls just happen to be an additional aspect of, oh, I was going to bring these two out here to kill them, but we ran into you girls, and
Yep.
now that's like the thing that kind of the wrench in the works. So yeah, that old I think of him being cabin daddy or a part of it actually makes sense.
So, I mean, I think Cabin Daddy is a reference to the body that was found in the cabin and having been the keeper of that cabin. So I don't, but I'm curious. I think there's a connection there for Joe McHale to that character. Like maybe
Right,
that's his dad or something. But other 2 points of interest I saw on that, yes, Eric with a K is how it's spelled. What was really interesting to me was the fact that they referenced a previous team several years ago that would come out, but no one was able to capture the audio of the frogs. So is that the same team? Okay, then I have questions to this team. Why in the fuck would you dig a pit to put your supplies in a cache like that? You're a
right.
fucking science team, man, not a goddamn SF team. All right.
Or are they?
And I don't know anyone that is a guide or anything, and I have a very limited pool of those in my life, that would go into bear country without a pistol that's going to defeat a fucking bear.
Right.
And I'm talking like a high caliber handgun that's
Or
gonna
rifle,
fucking
right?
that's
Something.
gonna put a bear down. Like you got a one shot fucking opportunity. Don't fuck around with it. Put a
Yeah,
cannonball through that thing.
exactly.
I find it interesting that he only carries a crossbow that we know of because yeah, it could be in his kit, but chances are he'd be humping it on
For
his chest,
small game
readily
too.
available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a small game crossbow. It's definitely not taking down a bear. It could even take
So
down Melissa. All right. Now,
okay,
I'm not saying Melissa's not a badass, but they had to
let's talk about the crossbow, man.
push the bolt through her skin in
Right.
order to get it out the other side. So I'm like, yeah, that bow was like probably from like Walmart or something. I don't know. That
So
seemed like
I
it's
did
badass.
some quick research on that because I thought the bolts looked small too. Standard arrow on on a full size crossbow is 18 to 22 inches according to all the research I saw on Google for all of 30 seconds. But then you have crossbow bolts that can go down as low as 12 inches. But when you actually see the scene when they're about to push the arrow through Melissa, it looks like a full size arrow, and that could have just been for cinematography purposes. Like, hey man, we need something that they can break and
A
kind
little
of push
bigger,
through and make
right?
it look real. Plus, I think 12-inch bolts are made of aluminum. They might be. I don't know, man. I don't do this shit. I just went off what Google fucking told me. So put in the
Exactly.
comments, man. Correct me, please. I hate sound like I'm dumb.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something there, man. There's something there with him, and he was definitely willing to like let go of the cliff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
So I think he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Ty's credit card gets declined. I thought that was kind of interesting that she blow through all her money finally. So, hmm. And let's see. House the new knife. Yep, they captured Kodiak. And yeah, so and Shauna and Natalie are bringing Hannah back to camp. So I guess we can forecast that there's probably going to be some interrogations coming up.
Yeah, but is the important question going to get answered, right? Because at this point, all I care about it, and now it does seem like the girls are worried about defending themselves about the actions that they've taken, right? Because like, oh, like kind of like, oh, well, they know or they're gonna tell, like, yeah, well, you ate people. Remember, because the first thing Missy said, like, oh, he died of natural causes. Like, wait
His
a minute,
fucking head is on a plate.
like, okay, like you were stranded out here, you guys crashed. I get it. You didn't just say the first thing we're going to do is eat a body. It's just now you're doing it for ritualistic purposes, not for survival. So it does look a little weird. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, okay, we get it. You crashed. This is the situation. You wouldn't normally do something like this, right? Cannibalism is like, oh, it was bestowed upon us. Like we didn't ask for this. It just happened. But they're kind of worried about that and not just the aspect of wow, we can get out of here, we're being rescued, right? So it's kind of like what's the priority? To me, the priority would still be to get out of there. And for some reason, they're just like, no, I'm worried about what happens when we get back. What are people going to think? What are they going to say? Or what? Because that's like it's not the paramount concern as to getting out of there. And I can't necessarily see a jury that would condemn you for having to eat a person because you were stranded on a in the mountains for like a year and a half, right? Now, granted, you might find yourself on a national park, might be a little bit more difficult to explain that if you're on Yellowstone and like, dude, like you could have went to the other side and there's a resort right over there. That could happen, but I don't think that's the case. But again, they don't seem to be too far away because, as we said, these aren't avid hikers. These aren't like people. Oh, we've been hiking for 2 weeks and
Right.
covered all this terrain. Like, no, dude, they got dropped off by an Uber probably, and probably went like a couple, like maybe no more than what 25 miles at most, and that's a high number.
Dude, over
25
that terrain,
miles. Yeah, I don't even think they went 25 miles.
that guy's feet would be fucking destroyed, man. They'd be doing
Right.
amputations on his
So
shit at
yeah,
that point.
nah,
Like
they're
he's not,
pretty close. But then
yeah,
again, you heard nothing come in. You heard no helicopters. You heard no jet. You know what I'm saying? So how did they get to this area? Maybe they drove. All right, a
dude, if
vehicle
this,
can get in without being heard, but a helicopter, no. You definitely hear a helicopter.
I hope this movie
Definitely
does,
hear a
or the
plane.
show doesn't end like the fucking village, man. Spoiler alert.
I said that already. Don't M Night me. Do not M Night me.
No, man. No. If they're in some fucking Canadian national park, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. Be like, hey man, there's been a snack bar over there for the last 30 years.
Right.
Best deer burgers in the world.
Oh man, I need answers, man. I need answers. Come on, man. We're in season 3 already. I mean, we getting five. Wait,
Dude,
5 seasons of this?
I think that's what the forecast is for five. But
For
like
five.
we're getting a fair amount of answers this season, man. Like the body count is definitely higher, and yeah, and the answers are actually coming in pretty fast and furious.
Yeah.
Um, I think big picture stuff is still needs to be sketched in a little bit more. And I think by the end of season three, we're gonna be in a good spot to figure it out like what's really going on. I'm
Okay.
curious to see like old Archibald Rhetoric, our number one super fan there. Mentions good old Van. Yeah, I don't know if Van's long for this world in this season. I'm curious because I could see it might be more interesting to see Ty like completely unhinged go off the fucking deep end if Van dies.
Right. But then that takes
Or
away from her use of killing people in the present timeline. So yeah, that
no,
might be something they may want to continue a little bit,
huh?
see how far she's willing to go, who she's willing to sacrifice on behalf of Van. So that's a storyline that could, drag out a little
Yeah.
bit. You could get a little messy. And then like
Um,
who's not off the plate. Like I'll sacrifice anybody. But you have to have some line, right? But she might kill Misty, she might kill Shauna, anybody on behalf of Van. I think,
oh,
Van's her number one.
I think Misty is surviving this show. I think Misty's going to be the one to walks away
Walks
unscathed.
away with it all, yeah. Because she gets
Uh,
all the answers, man, for sure.
Archibald hit us back. Callie did say the scientist camp was less than 100 miles from where the plane crashed.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's no way
yeah,
that you hiked 100 miles. No,
no, no,
no.
no. So that Callie did say
But
the
it
scientist
was like 100 miles away. I did hear that
plane crash.
where the bodies were found or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100 miles
But
is
but
there's
we
no
don't
way you're
know is
hiking
how
that
far
amount.
the current like impromptu camp is from the plane.
Yeah, those froggers, I'm saying it now, did not hike 100 miles in that terrain. They did not. They did not. They would have a Sherpa. Like, no, there's no way. That dude with those, I think he wore Skechers. No way. There's no way he hiked that far. Nope, nope, nope.
Skechers.
Something else. That's another explanation, man. No, I'm not buying it.
No,
Not
I
buying it.
wouldn't say I buy that either, but like that's an interesting detail. Huh.
Yeah. And Hannah, no, they don't even, they had like what, like nutrient bars or something. So, oh man, you can't eat those, they're gonna run out. Like, so they don't even have a big supply of food or rations. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because he
not
does
a
hint at
huge water
rationing
supply.
about the bar. Yeah.
Right. And 100 miles? Think
That
about
was
for
a
some
big
frogs,
ass rabbit too.
for some frogs. 100 miles? No, no. Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
Ubered, man. They lifted in there. I don't know. Look, look, look. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But Hannah looks like she survived the initial onslaught. Kodiak, probably the same thing. I'm thinking Kodiak is going to go next unless he gets away somehow. So
so
Hannah,
I'm
they
curious
may
because
keep
I could
around for a
see
while.
what if he actually escapes and he's actually what if he is like really a bad guy and he's like, fuck it, man, I'm just gonna start picking them apart.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it could that's the exciting thing about theorizing about the show, man. It can go in a million different directions and we could all be I would have never guessed fucking a frog orgy was gonna be the cause of all this stuff. Like sitting there researching owls and shit.
Yeah, true, true. And then
And
somebody's got to
then
kill
we're
these girls off, right? Somebody has to be
the
the
big bad.
antagonist, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's
yeah.
the biggest thing I want to know is like, why did you wait 25 years? And I think we're slowly getting to that. But like, if it's just Melissa, like there needs to be a real fucking reason why Melissa's been off the grid this long and plotting this revenge. And I'm really curious to see where it goes. So
And it could be, I mean, only theory I have is Melissa's a victim of slighted love, right? Because her and Shauna were like this in the wilderness, and then boom, you get home. Oh, you got a husband and a daughter. Now you have no time for me. So she
yeah,
could have been stewing in that, obviously not having a support system like, like Shauna and the other girls have, kind of trying to deal with things on her own, and probably just became unhinged at it. I mean,
yeah,
theories, right? So we
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, that could
Well,
be
hey
it.
man, you want to check out season 8 or episode Jesus season 8 episode
Oh
8
wow,
trailer?
forecasting. Yeah, episode 8.
It's been
Let's
a long
go.
second winter.
Tell me something.
What day is it?
Can you get us out? Did Mulder and Scully get together? Everyone, shut up.
What if they
Color
tell people
Polly.
what they saw? The only way to truly be safe is to be the only one left. You're not in charge anymore. It's rescue.
Does she know what you did? What you're capable of?
Okay. Well, there she is. The
Ty didn't look very,
swingster.
Ty didn't look very happy at that door, man. Almost like something was happening that she could not control.
Right. Oh, so okay, that's gonna be interesting. So like I said, there seem to be some concerns over, oh well, what did you see? Or what are you gonna tell people? Like, look, let's just get
Yeah.
out of here, man. But you know, yeah, I guess prison is always a concern, even if you're in the wilderness having to eat bodies. You don't want to go to jail. At least you get 3 squares. I'm just saying, you go to jail, you get 3 squares. Not that bad, from what I've heard. I've never been. But yeah, it's either
Me
that
neither.
or eat a body. And Coach Scott and I might be the last meal for you guys over there. So I don't know.
What is it she said? I will eat your delicious butt meat. I think it was in season 2 when she was like trying to talk him off the ledge.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Coach Scott
I bet
already.
she did. I bet she did. I miss Coach Scott too, man.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yes.
final thoughts. Archie's back at it again, man. Jessica Roberts could have been the catalyst. It was probably all quiet until then. I still think that's enough. I think there's more to it than that. But
Right, right.
love the input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody came across the tape, so like I said, it's definitely it has to be one of the girls. I don't know who else was there, who else knew about it, who else, had the access, who knew to get it to Shauna, so all those things, come into play. And I don't think like Kodiak or Hannah know enough about Shauna to get that tape to her. I don't think Hannah's daughter would know her address, so I'm thinking it has to be one of the girls.
Oh, so I don't think so, man. I think that's relatively easy enough information to find. Just open source information gathering. You could
Yeah,
probably pull that information off of
Google.
just yeah. Jessica Roberts found them all. So I mean it's not that much of a stretch.
Yeah.
To think that with enough resources, you could probably, and time to dedicate, you could probably figure out where they're all at.
Yeah, true.
What if Kodiak gets the tape out?
Oh, wow.
Anyways, man, that's what we got for this week. So
Yeah, man. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, what you got here, you got some retired veterans just sharing our love of movies and shows. And we hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, man, join in, let us know what you guys think. Let us know your conspiracy theories. Let us know where you think the show is going. Let us know what other shows you might enjoy that you want us to kind of review. We do have some on the docket that we're waiting on. We're waiting on From. We're waiting on The Last of Us. We're waiting on Fallout. So we got some in the queue, but they got to come out. So
I think Last of Us is going to be next.
Yeah.
Is that April?
Think so. Yeah, next month.
Oh, that's perfect because Fallout is still filming and From's not coming back till 2026, probably not till the end of 2026.
So many questions. So many questions.
We should have Gen V season 2 sometime this year.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't even, see, this is what happens. I completely forgot about Gen V, and that's yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Quick shout out though, real quick. We're doing Den of Thieves 2 tomorrow, so come check it out.
Yeah, spoilers ahead.
Hell yeah. Did you watch it already?
I have not, but I'm going
Neither
to, and
have
I
I.
have to watch it twice. I may watch the first one. I do have to check the first one out. Maybe not for context, but from what I understand, you don't have to see the first one in order to get number 2.
I can catch up on it tomorrow. I've recently watched it.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, so
it's
gonna
a
be
solid
fresh
flick,
in my
man.
mind. Cool. I like it. All right, party
All
people.
right, guys.
Well,
That's what we
hope
got.
you enjoyed it, man. Till next time, Thick Nick Fury.
Fat Broken Rambo out here.